Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about what annoys the zodiac sign Pisces, and yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first off is, well, one thing I think that really strongly annoys Pisces are people that could be overly judgmental and critical and therefore insensitive to their feelings. Um, Keep in mind, I mean, Virgo is the opposite sign of Pisces. A lot of it has to do with that and some other things I'm going to mention, including that people that go through an overabundance of analysis and are overly analytical can irritate them as well. Now, I think, too, people that really just can't see the whole picture and that are just overly punctilious with details and their fault finding. I mean, those are things that could really annoy Pisces. Again, going back to the fact that Virgo is their opposite sign. Now, Virgo on and may actually see Pisces. I'm sorry, Pisces may see Virgo as overly pedantic, verbose, and overly worried. Pisces can often be more relaxed. Virgo is, of course, like the workaholic of the zodiac, where Pisces is a little bit more lethargic and relaxed. And also, keep in mind that what I think is interesting too, I mean, we talk about the disparity between Pisces and Virgo, and Virgo can be, and in some cases, downright fanatical about their health, and Pisces is a little bit more apathetic regarding that on average. I'm not saying all Pisces people are unhealthy. There's always things called contraindicators in the chart. But generally speaking, compared to Virgo, not necessarily as worried about health matters on average. And you look what I think is interesting, what can annoy Pisces is not, I mean, criticism in general, given the fact that Pisces can be exceptionally sensitive. But really, one of the things they're really, I think, can get irritated and annoyed at very strongly of all criticism is really about their health and their physique, and if they're out of shape. Pisces, especially the ascendant, if somebody has Pisces rising, is not really, really as far as often the physique is often heavier than average, and they're not always in the best of shape. You look at many of you may have remembered former legendary MLB player Tony Gwynn. He had Pisces rising, and he got somewhat sensitive when somebody apparently, I don't know if it was one or more people, apparently made some derisive or derogatory statement, apparently about his weight, and I don't remember his exact words, but he basically at least intimated that it was his business, and as far as my build, physique, my weight or whatever, that's my own thing. And Pisces could get really irritated at something like that. Now, another thing too is that you look at Pisces as really can often believe in the paranormal, perhaps more than any of the other zodiac signs because of the connection with it. And Virgo, on the other hand, is the sign really that could be very averse to it. They like to see, basically what's in front of them. And both signs could actually, I mean, any sign could have some propensity to project things in the future. But Pisces might believe, they generally believe it more with their intuition and how they, feeling for something, where Virgo is more about extrapolation of data and analysis, and really, and Pisces can get a little bit annoyed, I believe, at that. And also, Virgo is, of course, very cynical and skeptical, and if something's not right out there in front of them that's tangible, that they could see, they often will be averse to it. Now, another thing that may annoy Pisces, I think, are people can be Aquarius sometimes, or people that simply embody their characteristics. And keep in mind that Aquarius often falls on the 12th house cusp in a solar or natal chart. for Pisces. And Aquarius of all the signs can be more iconoclastic on average than the other signs, I believe, because there's so much about reforming and going against traditions. Pisces is often very spiritual. I mean, it's connected with spirituality, and I think, well, what can annoy people are those the Aquarius-like people that can be iconoclastic. I'm not saying that all Aquarians are like that, but they do have more of a propensity toward that than the other signs. And anyway, and also Aquarius can be, you know, I've said this before in previous videos, they could often have that universal friend syndrome, and Pisces is really more, they want to often be part of their own world. Aquarius is often really wants to be connected to environmental and global affairs, where Pisces just really often wants to attend to their own fantasy world. So people that are trying to cajole or coax Pisces in general, that are trying to go out and make all these friends and do this and that, they really can be somewhat averse to that and be annoyed at that. Now, another thing too is, and also Aquarius can often explain things in a more perspicacious manner than Pisces. Pisces can often be a little bit more ambiguous, and sometimes they have a little more difficulty in verbalizing things. Keep in mind that, I mean, Mercury is in its detriment and fall on Pisces, so understand that. Now, I think too is another thing that can annoy Pisces are those that can't use their imagination. I've talked previously about how actors and actresses can often, I believe, they could be pulled or drawn toward roles that correspond with their astrological energy, whether sometimes on a subconscious level or even on a conscious level at times. I remember there was a scene in a Star Trek episode, the original Star Trek series, and Captain Kirk, aka William Shatner, said to Scotty, who is his name in real life is James, I think it's James Doolan, but you better check on that to make sure. But he played Scotty on the series, and he has a son in Pisces, the person that played Scotty. And Captain Kirk said to him, use your imagination or something. And Pisces, of course, is very attuned to the imaginative side. So I think that was very interesting for Captain Kirk to say that to him, where he really doesn't necessarily lack imagination. Probably in real life he didn't, given that he had his son in Pisces. Now, anyway, and really, I think too, what can really annoy Pisces, I think, are people that are overly blunt, forthright, and sometimes even downright tactless. Remember, there is a reason why Sagittarius squares Pisces by sign. They're obviously not compatible. Pisces, sadly, can at times be deceptive and duplicitous, while Sagittarius will often speak the veritable, unadulterated truth with those harsh arrows of truth, so to speak, figuratively speaking. And whether you want to hear it or not, Sagittarius can often give Pisces a sad dose of reality, which of course can strongly exasperate and annoy Pisces. And really, and that is something that can of course really hurt Pisces as well. Now, another thing is I think another thing that can strongly annoy Pisces are people that can come across as insensitive. Remember that Gemini is square Pisces by sign. Gemini can be strongly connected with dispassionate reasoning, and Gemini, not necessarily maliciously, but may inadvertently hurt Pisces' feelings, because they often will not look at the human element or aspect of a situation, where Pisces always can do that, and Pisces' feelings can often run deeper than Gemini, given that Pisces is a water sign. And sadly, Gemini's need for variety and activity may often take priority and precedence over Pisces' feelings, and which of course can strongly annoy Pisces. Now, it's funny, it's interesting. Now, there was one time when actress Drew Barrymore, who has her son in Pisces, became very upset over what Gemini rising shock jock Howard Stern said about her one time. Now, at least according to Astro.com, as Howard Stern at Gemini rising, but it's a C rating, so of course proceed with caution on that. But anyway, if that's true, I could understand in a way, given that Howard Stern, if he does have Gemini rising, probably is not really that sensitive to others' feelings in many instances. And Drew Barrymore not only has her sun in Pisces, she has her moon in Cancer. Ironically enough, though, Drew Barrymore has a Gemini ascendant, but of course, obviously much more sensitive than the typical Gemini rising. And anyway, another thing too is I think when I look at this as well, is that people when I look at this, another thing about Pisces, what can annoy them, I think, is really people that like Leo. I mean, Leo is in conjunct Pisces by sign, and Leo, of course, is a lot more gregarious and extroverted than Pisces and more flamboyant. I think those qualities can annoy Pisces because Pisces is often more about their solitude, seclusion, and isolation in their own world, and they're much more passive and less confrontational than Leo as well. And given all this, that obviously if they're in a relationship, adjustments may have to be made. Now, I think another sign that is in conjunct with Pisces is Libra. And Libra, I mean, they could be annoyed with Libra or people that embody Libra-like characteristics, because Libra is often about ingratiating themselves with social groups and with others. They're about intellectual sociability. But Pisces basically, they basically are about more themselves in terms of being, as far as more introverted in their isolation, seclusion, again, as opposed to ingratiating themselves with others. And of course, adjustments may have to be made if these two were to hook up in a relationship situation. Now, another thing too, I think, is what can annoy Pisces is really people that really that are not idealistic or don't think they could reach really the maximum potential, what they can actually reach, whether it is a goal, aspiration, or what have you. And Dr. Phil, who has Pisces rising, I mean, he wants others often to reach their pinnacle. He always talks about, wants you to get excited about your life. And I think people like, that have, Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant can often become exasperated and annoyed at those that don't at least make an effort to reach their potential or make some kind of excuses to do so. What's interesting about Pisces is that they're not really the most ambitious sign, but at the same time, what's odd about them is that they, I think, can become critical at others that aren't reaching for the stars, so to speak, and being able to reach, to really max out in what they're able to do in whatever element or aspect in life it might be. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for What Annoys Pisces. Stay tuned next time, where I will be giving you my Aries March 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.